Good morning, guys. It's market day and we are all set up and ready. We have such a tiny space that this is crazy. Actually, first when we arrived here, we didn't even have a spot to sit. I don't know, they probably expected us to stand. I'm gonna talk more when I sit down with you guys, talk about what I feel about this, and because I'm literally back to back with my neighbors. This is smaller space than I had at Supanova, so it's a bit disappointing. The only thing that concerns me, we are kind of in the food court. At the moment there is no food smell, so I feel fine, but who knows over day when the lunch time happens how it's gonna be. And the only problem I have, there are birds inside. Even though we are indoor, it's pretty much open and birds can easily enter and they are flying all over. I mean, it's not a lot, it's 1 or 2 birds, but still, bird poop can happen easily. And the problem is all of the plushies on the top are my most expensive plushies, and I don't know, I don't feel good knowing that my anchor can get bird pooped, and it's a bit stressed. Overall, it's quiet now, it's still early morning, it's Saturday, and the area is nice, this place is nice. I mean, everything is okay. When we arrived, we were really disappointed with the spot. Like I said, it's very cramped, it's very small. I might film around just so you can see how it looks like. Most of the people are upstairs and they're in an enclosed room, which looks beautiful. And the only problem they have is driving traffic up there. At first I thought we had the worst spot because I thought it was the worst spot, but then they told me that we will actually have more traffic than anyone else. I mean, this is food court, there is a supermarket next to us, and this is actually the main entry to the building. The only better thing for the people upstairs is they have entry from garage. So I don't know what to expect. People are walking around looking, and we'll see. I'm gonna show you a bit around just so you can see how it looks like. I couldn't even fit the tablecloths and they actually allowed us to be without tablecloths. Management is here. I need to stop talking. I'll be back. Okay, they have left. They're still discussing the problem with tables because there was an issue. Apparently everything that is happening on the lower levels is run by console. They're here again. Give me a second. Okay, they're trying to discuss the table issue because the problem is upstairs everything in the room is apparently run by artisans, but everything on the lower floors has to be run by console because it is not in the enclosed room, it is within the shopping center, and I don't know how this works. That's what I was told by the lady who ran this. I don't know, there's not a lot of place for people to walk here. They are literally sitting in front of us eating, and I can already hear a bird. Every time I hear a bird, I'm stressed, and I don't know, I'm not relaxed, definitely. Yesterday I had panic attack, like a proper panic attack where I thought I'm gonna faint, and I can tell that I'm always stressed when I have to do markets. But I'm gonna push through this. It's only 5-hour market. My husband is here with me. I'm just gonna flip the camera to show you how it is around us, how little or no space we have. Can you see this? This space we have created because we wanted to sit somewhere. There's literally no place to sit here. And it's a struggle. It's so tight. Management is still walking around and discussing. I even asked if I apply for the next time, can I go up in the room? And she said, you can, but there's no guarantee that you will be accepted because I assume everyone in that room is like from their old group. I don't know how to explain. These markets have been running for a while, so I'm new to this market, and I assume that's why I got into it because I accepted to be on the lower levels, even though I'm not really happy to be here. But who knows, like they said, in the end it could be that this might be a better option than in the upstairs because they really cannot drive traffic up there that easily. And I'm not sure how this is going to be for the next time. We'll see. Unfortunately, everyone is complaining. The lady who is running here, I mean, she cannot do anything because the guys who are running the shopping centers are in charge, so she's also dealing with what she can. But oh well, once they leave, I'm just gonna walk you around and show you everything, how this is and what the setup is.
But if you don't wanna tell me now, I guess I'll never know. But if you don't wanna tell me now, I guess I'll never know. At 29 and I find myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set them rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again. Life lessons come one in a dozen. The other 11 get something from nothing. I sit here looking for an answer. Maybe the biggest question was in the last chapter. You gave me the soul I have today. Without you I never could have moved away. But now I see what you teach. I do believe I always should have stayed. Yeah. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again. One day I'll be One day I'll be
It's time for recap. It's been almost 10 days after the market. I'm finally having time to sit down and do the proper market recap. I'm yet to go through the footage of what I was filming there, but I don't think there was a lot because it was a very slow start and I'll get into all the details. Let's start from the beginning. So this was the Artisans in the Park market. It was completely new market to me. It is already established market, but they have moved location and this year they are indoors. They are in, I think it's called Tram Sheds. I think I'm saying that correctly. If not, feel free to correct me. I didn't know what I'm getting myself into. Originally, when I applied for this market, I thought I'm applying for the full year and that I was accepted for the whole year, but apparently I'm not. I need to reapply for every market if I want to continue doing it, which we will discuss in the end. Getting there was pretty easy. The setup was pretty easy. Once we got there, I noticed that everyone is setting up in a room, like a big space room, and that part was communicated with us that markets will be in the room and outside in the shopping center. I really didn't know what to expect because I've never been to this location and I didn't know what the shopping center meant. Essentially, we were in the food court, which was very awkward. The original plan was to put a lot more people down there and we were set up on tables where people essentially eat from. And there were big tables, very tall tables. My setup ended up being very tall to me, even to my husband, to help me set up. And once we arrived there and saw everyone setting up in that room, I regret instantly. I was like, this doesn't look good. This room is like a beautiful artisan's setup. While we are going downstairs, it looked like we were going into the underground, but no, we were not underground. We were essentially leveled up with the parking and the outdoor entry, but we were in the food court and our tables were against the wall. And we arrived at the spot and I was like, where am I supposed to serve my customers? If I put my setup all up, where I'm gonna stand and serve the customers? We can't trade like this. I just can't work like this. And I immediately went upstairs to search for organizer, which there was no one down there guiding us. There was just my name on the table. And I went up, and there are a couple of people that I know that are part of the organization because I know them from other markets. And the guy went down immediately and started pulling the tables from the wall. We had enough space just to fit there physically, and luckily I have small chairs, so I was able to have our chairs set up, so we were kind of sitting awkwardly. Maybe you will be able to see that in the footage. And from the start the feeling wasn't right. I wasn't feeling this market. I was anxious. Nothing was as planned, and I can tell that even the organizers were not happy because apparently what I learned at the spot, and I didn't know at the time, they are responsible for everything happening in the room, and everything happening down is up to the shopping center management, whatever that is. I'm not sure if that is shopping center or just tram shed, whatever it's called. There are a couple of shops around, there is supermarket, there are food court, there is a lot there, but it was under the tram shed management. Luckily we were not there early because the day before, when I was doing the mock setup, my husband decided that he doesn't want to assemble the grid walls, that we are gonna transfer them in 2 pieces. And we managed that. Luckily we have a big car, like a really big car, and we managed to fit that in half, so the setup was easy. We just connected 2 parts, and now I'm thinking maybe I should do that actually for my uni markets, because that's where I struggled the most with setting up those grids, so I might do that in future. But again, uni markets are different because I'm carrying my gazebo, my trolley, my weights, my tables. I carry a lot. With this market we didn't carry anything. It was just the grid walls and 4 of the bins with plushies. From the start my vibes were just not doing it, and I wasn't feeling really good. But I was like, okay, this is only 5 hours, we will survive. It was so boring, guys. The start was so boring. So we were set up by 9. We were told to be set up by 9:30. Market starts from 10. I mean, market starts whenever it starts because it is an open space and people are coming in and out. Anyone could enter anytime. So technically we were set up from 9, and the sales up until noon were non-existent. Like, we were sitting there for 3 hours without anything happening. I had 2 sales maybe, and at the time I didn't even cover my stall fee, which was $70. Around 11 o'clock, Mel from Hey It's Mel B arrived, and that was an hour that went by very fast because she was there, we were chatting, her husband was there, my husband was there, and the 4 of us had a really good time because they are really fun. I enjoy meeting Mel. Mel is such a sweetheart. We were laughing so hard. Like, I really enjoyed having her there because our time went fast really quickly. And while she was there, we also talked about how slow it is. She could see and experience that nothing was really happening. She also walked then upstairs. I was upstairs before her, and upstairs it felt like there were more people, but I'm not sure if they were buying. I didn't get the feedback from the stall holders that were upstairs. Was it good? Was it bad? I never got the feedback. But Mel also went upstairs and she said it was quiet, that she thinks that it is more people downstairs. And I agree, because after lunchtime, after Mel left, it all picked up. By the time Mel was still there, we still didn't cover our fee. The moment we cover our fee was when Mel bought one snap tab, my embroidery keychain, a bluey one. Even with the discount we gave her, that was the moment we managed to cover our stall fee. So thank you, Mel, for that. And after that, it kind of snowballed. When she left, it was noon and it was lunchtime and the food court filled. And sales started to creep in because usually people were sitting in front of us, they would eat, they had time to observe all the stall holders, and then they would come back and buy. I didn't have a huge amount of sales. Let me just check the amount of sales I had. I sold only 17 items, and that's really bad. I mean, 17 items is really low, but in the end I was happy because the dollar value for all these 17 items was $478, which is fine. I'm happy with that. With only 5 hours of market and with such a low expectations that I had for this market, to get almost $500 it was good. It was low effort and not a lot of plushies sold. So in the end, I was really good. I'm gonna break down what sold and for how much. The reason I was also happy because we were selling plushies that I had for a very long time and hard time selling. So I was like, yeah, this is great because I'm getting rid of some of my old plushies that no one was buying, and here I am earning some money for them still. I was really happy in the end. So yeah, just meeting Mel, I enjoyed that part. She was so sweet, so nice, such a wonderful person. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing her again. That was really nice of her that she has visited me and met me in person. So yeah, I really do appreciate that. Thank you, Mel. It was really, really nice meeting you. I do want to meet you again, definitely, in some better setting where we can have a seat and chat. Well, that's not gonna happen anytime soon because the baby is gonna come, but still, one day we will be able to do so. Let's break down what I sold. I have my Shopify in front of me. Oh, and by the way, that was my first time using Shopify and it went smooth. It was so easy. The barcodes work perfectly. My husband managed to do it on his phone. So we only have one POS device, but Shopify is the same as Square. You don't need POS device to be able to take sales because you can download app and then set your iPhone as tap on the phone. And that's what he did. I was connected to the device and he was connected to tap on iPhone, which I also have for myself set up in case the device disconnect. I can always use tap on iPhone. I'm not sure if this is just for tap on iPhone or tap on phone in general. I don't use Android, so I'm not sure about that. But Shopify worked perfectly. Our barcodes worked perfectly. My husband even managed to give a discount to Mel, so he figured out how to do the discount on sales without changing the price. So yeah, it was smooth sale when it comes to my new POS system. One of the bigger sale was Night Fury or Toothless, because like I said, I'm no longer doing market without Toothless. Toothless is always selling and this was definitely my biggest sale. I sold him for $120 and the person who bought it didn't even flinch on the price. That was a father whose first son came to my stall. I think the little one was under 2 because he wasn't even talking. So he picked him up first and then told him, just show me what you want. And he showed at flamingo. My flamingo that I have for quite some time with me, and I don't like that flamingo because he is flopping down every single time someone touches him. He falls down and I hate him. I made him just because I have a lot of that color in stash and I want to destash that color, and flamingo is perfect plushie for that pink. I'm not sure if I want to make another one, maybe just to destash the color, but it took some time to sell that plushie and that boy just liked the flamingo. I think he was drawn to the color and he just took his flamingo and he was happy with it. He loved it. Let me check the price. I sold him for $35, which is a bit underselling myself, but I lowered the price just to sell him because he was annoying. I think that is Crochet Grow Flamingo. And after his first son, the second son came because he was sitting there having lunch and he pointed out at a black plushie. He just said, I want a black plushie. And we couldn't figure out which black plushie because there was something smaller in the middle. And then he said, no, I want a big black. I was like, Toothless? That one is $120. And Dad said, yeah, that's fine. I'm like, you're getting it? Yeah. And then my husband wasn't around, and since those tables and that setup was so huge I couldn't reach. Luckily I had my chair, so I stood on my chair and was able to reach Toothless. And then he requested his son to hold him before he paid for it. And he actually requested that with the first son. Then I gave him the Toothless and he asked him, do you still want him? And he said yes. And then I asked if I can have it back because I need to scan it. And I did. And I took off the tags. I took off the tags for both of the kids because they were little and I was scared of them breaking the stitch, even though the Toothless is Modavira blanket yarn, so there was no chance of breaking the stitch, but the other one was chenille and boy was very little, so I took the prices off. And in that moment he paid for that Toothless very quickly and he turned around and ran. It was a very awkward moment for me because in the same second my sale was declined, and that was such a weird moment because at a second I thought he was running away, even though That was my first thought, even though I knew that he wasn't running away because they were literally having lunch in front of me. His wife was sitting there, his younger was sitting there, the older kid was already there sitting and eating with his toothless, but for some reason he turned away in a different direction and sprint, which gave me anxiety. But at the same time, I feel like he was kind of lost where he was, what he was doing, where was his family, and he came back and I said, "Sir, your transaction was declined." "Oh, was it? Really?" Then he went into his phone to check and he could see that it actually was. And he asked me, "Would it be a problem for you to charge me again, or is that gonna cost you?" And I was like, I didn't tell him that, but I was thinking, it's gonna cost me if you don't pay me, but oh well, let's do it again. There's no cost for me to charge you because that's the point of selling things, charging you. And we did another charge and it went through and it was fine, but there was that weird feeling. I don't know if he tried to scam me and maybe I wouldn't notice, or it was just an accident. I don't know. I had a weird feeling just because of how he reacted and how he talked to me. It was weird. I don't know. It all went through. I got the money. The boy got the toothless. It was all good, but I was kind of shaken. You know, when something like that happened, you got shaken and you can't just get rid of that feeling for some time. It was just over me all the time, even though they spent literally the next half an hour sitting in front of me eating. I don't know, it was just weird. A couple of other sales that I didn't expect was my tuxedo cat. I talked about that cat, how I had a hard time selling her, and there was a girl who fell in love with her and she bought it. I priced it at $38, definitely undercharging myself, but I was happy to see it gone. I sold one drift, the octopus, and the fun part about that drift, I sold the pink weird looking one. When I was crocheting with that yarn pulled very weirdly and I got that weird pink spot on the octopus head, and I honestly thought no one would ever buy that plushie, but that girl fell in love because it was her and her brother and they were choosing between the pink and the very colorful variegated, and they both said go for pink, and I was surprised because for me the other one looked better, but I guess she wanted pink, and I have already crocheted a couple of pink ones and anything pink is selling really good for me, so I already made a couple of more of them in pink, both drift and rift. Someone bought that variegated in the smaller, in the rift version, so I'm probably gonna make more of those. Rift and drifts got a lot of attention. Pokemon's got a lot of attention too, but I sold only the water one, which I mentioned when I was making those Pokemons during my Vlogmas. That water one was by far the hardest one to make because there were so many pieces to him and there was so many sewing and color changes, and I said if he sells I'm gonna continue making them, but I didn't expect him to be the first one to sell, but oh well, I will definitely make more of those. I sold whale shark. I definitely need to make more sharks and whale sharks because those are the things that boys are gravitating to. I sold one chicken and egg. Chicken and egg actually got a lot of attention. They were choosing between white egg and yellow chick, but they decided to go for that grayish color, like gray and beige color egg, and interesting colors always go first than the classic ones. Also, my mini chicken and egg was sold, that I have reduced the price into my mini basket. I sold one of the fluffy chicks that I made in Yarn Smith's flurry yarn, so I sold one of those. That's actually, I call them mini duck, could be chick too. I sold my last rainbow bee. I'm not sure if I want to make more of those rainbow bees, but I definitely need to have bees. Bees are such a basic plushie and they always keep selling. I sold one crochet keychain that was my gray cat. I didn't have a lot of keychains, so people didn't have a lot to choose from, but that girl really loved that gray cat and that was gone. And then I sold 3 embroidery snap tabs. One went to Mel, she bought a bluey for someone, and then I sold 2 toothless ones to the same person. I think he bought for his both sons. I was there, but I wasn't paying attention because that was the time when I was talking to Mel and my husband was serving the customers. And then I sold purple turtle, the tofu turtle. Like I talked in my last video about the turtles, the bigger ones I have lowered to 28 and my tofu I was selling for 25. And the girl who bought the purple turtle, they came back 3 times. First, they were disappointed because the smaller chicken and egg was sold. They wanted that, and then she wanted turtle. It took them coming back twice to decide which turtle she wants. She wanted the purple one, while mother was pushing the bigger one for 28 that I have hard time selling. And she was like, no, I want this purple. And mother was, but why purple turtle? Who has ever seen a purple turtle? And then I told her, you would be surprised, but those colors are my most sellers. Not traditional colors of animals are usually selling. It is the unusual colors. And she was surprised, and her daughter was, this is the cutest turtle ever. I want a purple turtle. And she got it in the end. That just shows that people don't care about the price, because the price difference between those two turtles were only $3, while tofu turtle is this small and the other one was substantially bigger. It didn't matter. She wanted the cute one, and that's why those small turtles for some reason are really good seller for me. And I'm just gonna keep making them, especially in that purple color, because I have so much of that purple yarn and I have hard time deciding what to make with it. And my last sale actually happened while we were fully packed. They were at my stall earlier in the day, and then I think they went up in the room. There were no other crocheters. I think there was one person selling a couple of crochet items amongst other things that she was doing, but didn't have the selection as I did. And then by the time they came back, we were fully packed. Everything was in the bags, and she was like, oh no, am I allowed to buy something? Please, will you be able to find it? I'm like, just let me know what it is and I'll do my best. And she said, I want that black little dragon. And I knew immediately it was Tarn or Tarn. I'm never sure how to pronounce that. The Didi the Dex dragon that I make inspired as Tarn. And I knew exactly where he was. He was in one of my bags on top, because that's how I usually do. I put my snugglers on top because they lay flat. And as soon as I opened the bag, he was there, and she just grabbed it and said, he was destined to be mine. And that was a adult lady with 2 girls, and not the girls were buying. Mother was buying for herself. I guess she was reading the books or whatever. She knew who the Tarn was and why she was buying him. So far, I have only sold those Didi the Dex snugglers to people who actually know who Tarn and Andarna are, which is amazing. I'm gonna definitely make another one because they are selling. Last year I was selling them for $45. I have lowered price to $40, and I'm still fine with that. So all in all, that was it. That was $478 in total for only 17 plushies. It's actually not 17 plushies, 17 items. 3 of those items were my keychains, so that was only 14 plushies, which is really not too bad. There was a lot of smaller ones and a couple of bigger ones, so the balance in total ended up being great when it comes to average sale. I haven't write down the average sale, and it really doesn't matter. I think getting almost $500 for only 17 items is not too bad. All in all, I was happy. I'm gonna apply for the next one. Will I get in? I don't know. No one can guarantee me to get in. I did ask her what are the chances for me to get in back again. She said that I'm the only crocheter that has applied, so there are good chances. They do have another crocheter who does these markets, but she didn't apply, probably for some health reasons, but she is not doing plushies. So she said, as long as you are fine doing market with another crocheter, you can join us. And I said, I'm completely fine if there is even multiple of that. I'm so used to doing so many markets with multiples of crocheters, and I have no issues with doing so. The fun fact is, I was surprised that she asked me that, which I do appreciate, considering less crocheters. But the thing is, there was like 10 pottery people, and I'm wondering how that works. I mean, that's a lot of pottery stall holders for one market. Maybe I think there was even more than 10. And I do understand pottery comes in a different style and colors, and you can do so much in pottery. But when it comes to crochet plushies, if we are watching the same people on YouTube, then there is a big chance that people are making the same things, which usually happens. I've done markets with people who were doing the same things as me. Usually it comes down to the prices, who has lowest prices, which I never do. I was always the one with the highest prices. I have lowered my prices this year, but just because I'm not doing a lot of markets and I don't want to sit on a lot of stock. That's the only reason. If I were to do markets as I did 2 years ago, where I did every single weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I wouldn't lower my prices because it's really hard to keep up with stock if you're doing markets every single weekend. Essentially, if you lower your prices, you are earning the same but crocheting more, which is really not worth. If you are selling really good every weekend and if you raise your prices, you would crochet less but earn more. It all comes down to the supply and demand, and for me, I would rather earn more and sell a couple of plushies less. That's how things work in economy, and I don't know, people who are underselling themselves and cannot keep up with their stock, they need to learn that having prices up will potentially give them the same dollar value in the end, but they will have to crochet less and they would have a better inventory and they would have more plushies in stock. I'm not sure if this makes any sense for you guys, but it does for me. So all in all, I was happy with this market. I am gonna apply again. We'll see how it will go next time, if I will be accepted. If not, all is good. I'm not gonna cry. I really can't complain because I'm doing less markets, and if there is any indoor market, I'm happy to take it, and I'm definitely not doing outdoor markets this year except for my uni, which so far I have canceled both of them because of the rain. No outdoor markets for me this year. They gave me too much anxiety and stress, and you end up keep losing money with canceling and having your plushies destroyed in rain and wind, and it is just not worth my mental health. So yeah, that is it. That is it for this first market of the year. Not too bad, not the best, but I'm still okay with it. Let me know if you would be happy with the amount of money that I have earned, and bear in mind this was really easy setup, really easy market to attend. I didn't work a lot. When you think about it, over the 5 hours I didn't do a lot, but I think that's a good money. It's a yarn money. I'll take it. With all of that, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy crafting.